I'm Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports, and today's show is a perfect Miami Dolphins free agency plan after signing Odell Beckham Jr. The GM Chris Grier made a lot of new additions to the team in the draft and then with OBJ post-draft, but there are still some moves that could be made, and I got a perfect plan in place. Before we get to my perfect plan, make sure you are following us on our Instagram. At Dolphins Today, IG is the handle. We are posting more Dolphins content on a daily basis, reels, posts, photos, updating you on the latest surrounding the Miami Dolphins. We're currently at 90 followers. Let's get to 120. I'll give some shout outs to some of the new followers as well on our next video. All right, before we get into my perfect free agency plan, there are some things you need to know surrounding the Fins. The current roster sits at 88 players, which allows them just 2 open roster spots on the 90. They currently have $2.9 million in cap space. That is prior to Odell Beckham Jr. being official because, yes, there's been some reports, but there has not been pen to paper, so we can't give you a realistic number. And then the cap space after June 1st, when Xavier Howard's $18 million comes off the books, will be $21 million, around that range at least. Obviously, that is no OBJ as well. But first things first, before we get into I guess this is part of the plan, you could say, but we're not signing anyone just yet. I am making a pair of cuts. Mike White, the quarterback, who is going to be the number 2 QB, at least as of now. I'm fine riding with Skylar Thompson as QB2. He's shown nice things in the past. And to get $3.5 million off the books from Mike White, I'm all in on doing that. And I also cut Jeff Wilson Jr., the running back, after drafting Jalen Wright. You really do not need him as a 4th RB. I'd rather have Ahmed and Chris Brooks for special teams, so I'm cutting Jeff Wilson Jr. And then with those savings, which is about $5.3 million, you now have $25.7 million in cap space after June 1st. Once again, I want to preface no OBJ included here, and I will continue to say that throughout the video, but having $25 million in cap space after June 1st will allow you to, 1, sign your draft class, and 2, go after some other free agents still available to improve this roster. Before I give you the names that I do want to sign, I want you to name the free agent you want Chris Grier to go out and get. If you were in Chris Grier's shoes, what would you do? Name a free agent you want to sign down below. There are some positions that I think need addressing still in the offseason. I'd say number 1 is no doubt in my mind offensive line, specifically the offensive guard position. Your interior right now is Isaiah Wynn, Aaron Brewer, and Robert Jones. I think you need more depth there, and specifically at the right guard position. Number 2 is safety. You need a 3rd guy, in my opinion, outside of Poyer and Holland. And then number 3 is defensive line. Zach Zeeler and Tier Tart look to be the top 2 guys, but after losing Christian Wilkins, I think you can get another big guy. All right, so we told you step 1 about cutting a couple players. Step 2 is I am going to address that offensive line position, and I'm going to sign an offensive guard. The question is, what offensive guard is out there for Miami to sign? Well, I think these are the top 5 guys still available. I think Greg Van Roten's up there, Dalton Reisner, Lucas Patrick, Nick Gates, and Phil Haynes. Full transparency, it's slim picking, man. Outside of the guys at the top 2 here, Van Roten and Reisner, the other 3 are rough. Patrick has been brutal for the Bears. Nick Gates was horrific for the Commanders. Haynes is an intriguing name, but I'm not really sold on that. So to me, it's between the top 2 guys who we've talked about on the channel before, and I would take Greg Van Roten. Please bring me Van Roten. That would be the number 1 free agent I want the Dolphins to sign this offseason. I'll explain why in just a second. But we are sponsored by Mando. And as we approach summer and moving on from spring, you don't want to be the smelly guy at your hangouts like producer Smitty. And the best way to combat that is with Mando. So get started today and get their starter pack with $5 off when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Spring into the season with deodorant that can handle the heat. Mando is clinically proven to work hard all day, and instead of covering up the BO with heavy fragrances, Mando stops the odor at the source, stopping the stink from happening in the first place. The starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a variety of items, including normal deodorant sticks, but you can also get invisible cream deodorant like I got here today, and also some deodorant wipes. You get 2 of these things as well as some other items in the starter pack. It's the best way to make sure you are smelling great in the summer. So once again, get $5 off when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. One more time, shopmando.com, code CHAT. The $5 off equates to about 40% off your starter pack. You get 2 free products alongside a solid stick deodorant and cream tube deodorant. Those items could be mini body wash and deodorant wipes. Also free shipping. Mando, the full package. Link is in the description and comments of today's video. All right, let's talk more about Greg Van Roten because he's been terrific over his career, and he was really good for Las Vegas just a year ago. You see the numbers on screen. The 5 sacks are a little sketchy, yeah, but no penalties is terrific, and he graded out really, really well with PFF, 75.3 overall. The more important number to me, though, is a 77.4 pass blocking grade. That actually was top 10 in the NFL for interior offensive linemen at that pass blocking position. He also graded at 68.5 for run blocking. We mentioned the 3 interior starters for Miami just a bit ago, but I would like to add some depth in here. I'm fine with Wynn and Brewer, to be honest. I think Brewer's going to surprise some people, being the Connor Williams replacement after he got hurt and you signed Brewer to a 3-year deal. But Robert Jones is the person that is really scaring me, and I'd like to have Van Roten come in here and compete with Robert Jones. You have Eichenberg as well, but I think Van Roten could be your starter at right guard. Now, what would a contract look like? He didn't get paid much last year for Las Vegas. Maybe he gets paid in a massive pay bump because of the way he played last season. But I think a 1-year, $2 million deal, like if you signed him, it's no guarantee he's the starter if we're being completely honest here. Like I think he would be, but it would not shock me if you signed Van Roten and Robert Jones was able to beat him out. Now, I'm not high on Robert Jones. I want to make that abundantly clear. But I also don't think if we sign Van Roten, it would just be, here, you're the starting right guard. It would be a competition between him and Jones, so anything could happen. That's why I'm taking a little bit of a lower deal in terms of value in my free agency plan. I'll tell you what, though. If the Dolphins do make a move, whether it be cutting any players or signing more players, we will have a video covering the basis. So hit that sub button. Join me. I'm Nic Rohloff. We'll have you covered in the offseason on the Dolphins leading up to training camp in the regular season getting started in the fall. Step number three of my free agency plan is let's sign a safety, baby. That was my number 2 position of need, and I think these free agents that are available are actually the best out of any position. I'm not kidding. You go position group by position group, the best players available are still at the safety group. Justin Simmons is a stud. Eddie Jackson has a ton of experience if he could stay healthy. Marcus May, Quandre Diggs, Terrell Edmonds. Like, when you get to this point in free agency, we're talking May and June, the names aren't great. To see these names up here are terrific. And I think everyone knows who's the number 1 guy on my list, and I think it would be on your list as well. That's Justin Simmons, the former Denver Bronco, who's been one of the better safeties in the entire NFL over the past 4 or 5 seasons. I need Justin Simmons in this safety room to pair up with Jordan Poyer and Jevon Holland. He put up good numbers last year for Denver still, man. They just had to get rid of him for cap purposes. 70 tackles, 3 INTs, 8 PBUs. According to some, he was really good, and he also got some forced fumbles as well. But the part that intrigues me is he was pretty solid in coverage last year. And listen, it's going to be tough because some places have 8 PBUs, some have 6. Either way, I like what was shown by Simmons defensively in coverage, only allowing 324 yards and giving up a QB rating of 85.9. We've talked in depth about this, but I do want to bring it up again. Your safeties behind Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer are just not adequate enough. You have Campbell there as your 3rd guy, but the other 3 in this depth chart right now, Colbert is a undrafted free agent. Mark Perry out of TCU is a UDFA. You drafted Patrick McMorris in the 6th round out of Cal, but are you seriously trusting those 3 guys to be 4, 5, and 6? And yeah, you're not keeping 6. You'd likely only keep 4 safeties, maybe 5 if you want to get aggressive. But having a third reliable guy like Justin Simmons would only help Holland and Poyer in case they get injured, but it would also help them play on the field because Anthony Weaver might want to go to a multiple look where you have 3 safeties. Baltimore Ravens did it a lot. That's where Weaver comes from. And as that new DC, he might want a third guy. I think the contract would look like this. It would be a little bit more of an expensive deal because Simmons is still the best guy out there, regardless of position in terms of free agency. 1 for $8 million. I think I'm all in on that. Be the GM for me, though. Should the Dolphins sign Justin Simmons? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know if you want the Dolphins to bring in the talented safety that formerly played for the Denver Broncos. All right, after those moves that I made, the 2 cuts, the 2 signings, the cap space is at around $6 million. And this time, by the way, I do bring in the factor of OBJ. I don't know what his contract is going to be, but I imagine his cap hit's going to be closer to $4 to $6 million in that range. That's why I put about $6 million. This also is factoring in the $5 to $6 million Miami is allotting to signing the 2024 draft class. So you have $5 to $6 million heading into the football season, which would allow you to sign players or take money back in a hypothetical trade if a player gets hurt and you need to upgrade the roster even further. Miami usually keeps that money. You don't want to be cap kind of strung up going in to the season just in case of an injury. I think this is a really good plan if you ask me, but you let me know how you think my plan is down below. And also follow me on Twitter as well. I'm tweeting about the Dolphins on a daily basis at Nic_Rohloff. If you want to be covered even more in depth surrounding the Miami Dolphins, it's the best place to do it. So give me a follow and go Fins.